Hello. The video you're about to see has been classified 18, which means no Generation Zs are allowed to watch this video unless supervised by an adult. So I suggest you Generation Zs stick to selfies and playing too much Fortnite. So this video has been classified 18, which means it contains strong scenes of sex and violence, which could be quite graphic. It also contains the frequent use of sexual swear words and offensive swear words and other offensive colourful language such as bollocks, wanker, tits, fanny. My apologies. The certificate is there for you to make the right choice. Thanks for listening. So yes, hello everyone. Welcome to the Sane Asylum. John's Sane Asylum. Where the only pleasure I get is playing the synthesizer. So yeah, it's Halloween again. Halloween again. My, doesn't the time fly. Halloween again. Yeah, the only day of the year where you get beggars on your door begging for sweets. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Yeah. Parents today say, oh, you mustn't take sweets from strangers. No, you mustn't talk to strangers. But by the way, you can talk to strangers and take sweets from on Halloween. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Makes complete sense to me. But enough about the hypocrisy of Halloween. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about video nasties. So you're probably thinking, if you're American, or if you're the Mexican, or hey, if you're Italian, you know about the video nasties, don't you? Oh yeah, it's Italian, because most of these films on the list are Italian. So yeah, video nasties. Video nasties was a moral panic during the early 80s concerning videos without certificates. So these potential videos with no certificate and no regulation could corrupt the youth of the day. God help you if you watch The Evil Dead, because if a kid watches The Evil Dead, they're gonna go into their school the next day with loads of pencils and stab their teacher in the eye. So yeah, it was all to do with that. Regulation, unregulation of videos. So yeah, I'm going to be talking about that. And I suppose start from the beginning. So yeah, the early 80s saw the explosion of videos. Now, you know, it's hard for people to understand now. Kids today wouldn't understand now the impact that videos had. You know, it was a revolution, videos. You know, one of the first revolutions in home entertainment. You know, I mean, obviously the first one was probably record players, and then of course TVs. You know, having a TV in your own house, regardless if it was in colour or not, watching your favourite TV programmes, and of course video. You know, video was, you know, it made incredible impact. And back then, if you wanted to see a film, you would pay your money to go to the cinema, and then you would get it on video, whether you bought it or rent it. Absolutely amazing. And and each decade has a revolution in home entertainment, whether it's video, games, consoles. Each decade has their revolution in home entertainment. For me, it was the PlayStation 1. I always hold the PlayStation 1 in high regard, and of course the 80s, it was video. Going to a store and buying a video or renting it. And there was lots and lots of video stores sprung up across the country. And back in the early 80s, you would go to a video store, and it was pre-certificate. This was before certificates. So, little Johnny, he could go into a video store, and ask for Cannibal Holocaust and Last House on the Left, and he would get it. He would get it. Little hello there, Sonny. What do you want? Well, I would like to rent Cannibal Holocaust and Last House on the Left, please. Certainly, Sonny. Would you like some candy? Okay. Absolutely. It's absolutely mad to think that, kids buying, unregulated, uncertificated films. Absolutely, it's just mind-boggling in itself. Absolutely mind-boggling. And then, there were several factors that led to the video nasty scare. There was a lot of factors, and a lot of people cite the cover of Driller Killer as the poster boy for the video nasty scare, and of course that wonderful woman who was so righteous and full of generosity. Oh, she really wanted to help everyone, didn't she? Oh, but it was all about her, really. And if you know what I'm talking about, Mary Whitehouse. She was part of the National Viewer and Listeners Association, and she had been around for donkey's years, saying that TV was going to influence children to kill, and influence adults to kill, and this is not good for the youth. All this. It's not good. Oh, it's not good. Oh, this TV program's not good at all. I haven't watched it though, but I don't think it's good at all. She would complain about a lot of programs. She complained about Doctor Who back in the 70s, and back then, PG, parental guidance, was a lot different to what it is now. There was no such thing as political correctness back then. There's no such thing. And you look at the Philip Hinchcliffe Doctor Who seasons. They are violent. They are really violent. It's like Deadly Assassin when he's getting drowned in water. The Doctor getting drowned in water. Very, 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 very nasty. Very nasty. And then you got Talons of Wing Chang. You know, when Wing Chang gets his leg completely bitten off by a giant rat, and he's like, oh, I have my leg bitten off. I need to smoke the opium, Lord, I need to smoke the opium, Lord, and I need to get prostitutes for my master, Magnus Grill. I need to get prostitutes. You know, good old Doctor Who back in the day, prostitutes and smoking opium. You know, she would really complain about Doctor Who. You know, saying, oh, you know, you need to cut out the violence and all, and she pretty much, she's one of the boogeymen. She is one of the boogeymen in this story. You know, there's a few boogeymen, shall we say, in this story. Mary Whitehouse, James Furman, and Graham Bright. So Mary Whitehouse pretty much, you know, spearheaded the movement against potential harmful horror films that were supposedly going to corrupt the youth of the day. You know, going to turn them all into basically turn them all into Charles Mansons. It's basically the drift of argument. So she came up with the term nasty, the nasty. I mean, she called Evil Dead the #1 nasty. Even though she probably never watched it, you know, there's a quote from her saying, I don't need to see visually what is in that film. And it's like, well, why are you being such a fucking killjoy? Go to fucking, let us fucking gore hounds watch our Evil Dead, and you go and fucking sing fucking mass on a fucking Sunday. And go and praise the fucking Lord while we do the devil's work and watch all these horror films. I never understood it. Never understood that argument. So if you're not going to watch the films and you're going to surmise what's visually in them, it's just hypocritical. Very, 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 very hypocritical. And she's basically, you know, it was the headlines in the papers, ban these sadist videos, you know, and then of course And then a list was made. 72 films. 72 films. Should we read out the films that were supposedly going to turn the youth of the day into vicious, mindless serial killers? So yeah, they were freaks. Well, technically there were 2 sections of the list, of the video nasties list. But of course, section 1 nasties, if you were caught with them, then you could be prosecuted, successfully prosecuted. And should we go through the list? Absurd, aka Monster Hunter. Anthropologists, aka the Grim Reaper. Axe, also known as Lisa, the Bay of Blood, also known as the Twitch of the Death Nerve, Beast in Heat, Blood Feast, Blood Rites, also known as the Ghastly Ones. Number 8, Bloody Moon, The Burning, Cannibal Apocalypse, Cannibal Ferox, also known as Make Them Die Slowly, Cannibal Holocaust, Cannibal Man, The Devil Hunter, Don't Go in the Woods, Driller, Killer, Evil Speak, Expose, also known as House on Straw Hill, Faces of Death, Fight for Your Life, Flesh for Frankenstein, Forest of Fear, Gestapo's Last Orgy, The House by the Cemetery, The House on the Edge of the Park, I Spit on Your Grave, The Island of Death, The Last House on the Left, Love Camp 7, Madhouse, The Mardi Gras Massacre, Nightmares in a Damaged Brain, Night of the Bloody Apes, Night of the Demon, Snuff, SXSS, Experiment Camp, Tenebrae, The Werewolf and the Yeti, Zombie Flesh Eaters. So yeah, that was section 1, Nasties. So if you had any of them on video in your video store, God help you, God help your soul. And of course, the non-prosecuted films that were unsuccessfully prosecuted. Here's that list. Number 1, The Beyond, The Boogeyman, Cannibal Terror, Contamination, Dead and Buried, Death Trap, Deep River Savages, Delirium, Don't Go in the House, Don't Go Near the Park, The Evil Dead, Frozen Scream, The Funhouse, Human Experiments, I Miss You, Hugs and Kisses, Inferno, Killer Nun, Late Night Trains, The Living Dead at Manchester Morgue, Nightmare Maker, Possession, Pranks, Prisoner of the Cannibal God, Revenge of the Boogeyman, The Slayer, Terror Eyes, The Toolbox Murders, Unhinged, Visiting Hours, The Witch Who Came from the Sea, Women Behind Bars, Zombie Creeping Flesh. So yeah, that was the list. As Christian would say, that was the list of the 72 video nasties. So yeah, that list drawn up with the help of the BBFC and the Director of Public Prosecutions. So yeah, what was funny about a lot of these films, these films was, well, there was a loophole before the Video Recordings Act there was a loophole where the BBFC could cut as much of the films as they could for cinema release, but when they came out on video, they would be uncut. They would be completely uncut and without certification. So you'd be watching the strong uncut version in your own home. It's just absolutely just you know, why me? I'm hardcore, and I've got an uncut version of Zombie Flesh Eaters. I'm fucking hardcore. Oh God, I've just seen an eye splinter. She looks like Kylie Minogue. Hello, I'm Kylie Minogue. I'm gonna get an eye splinter. Oh, I should be so lucky to have an eye splinter. You know, just absolutely crazy. You know, BBFC making all that trouble, you know, to cut the parts of their film that they deemed inappropriate, and then the video companies would release them uncut anyway, without certificates. So all these video stores were getting raided by the police. You know, they would get a list. You know, they would have, and in different counties, it'd be like as to what the police would seize and what would be deemed obscene, because the lists, you know, tend to be confused and conflicted. So so a lot of people thought Clockwork Orange was a video nasty. Clockwork Orange wasn't a video nasty. Clockwork Orange was withdrawn by the director Stanley Kubrick because he was fearful of death threats from his family and copycat violence. You know, he was worried that people were going to dress up as the Droogs and attack people and rape people. So he withdrew the film. And it wasn't until Kubrick died that Clockwork Orange got a release over here, or in the cinema and on VHS and DVD. It's like The Exorcist. People think Exorcist was a nasty. It wasn't. James Furman, the director of the BBFC at the time, he didn't like it. For some reason he thought The Exorcist was too intense. You know, he thought if young people watch it, then they're gonna get emotional, and they're gonna go out and they're gonna do whatever. You know, so it wasn't. Texas Chainsaw Massacre wasn't a nasty either. You know, James Furman didn't particularly like Tobe Hooper, so that pretty much got. It wasn't until he went again. It wasn't until James Furman left the BBFC that Texas Chainsaw Massacre got a release on VHS and DVD. So yeah, the police. You know, Thatcher. Oh dear. You mentioned that woman, Thatcher. Thatcher's bloody Britain, as Rick Mayo would say. Thatcher's bloody Britain. So Thatcher, she pretty much used the police as her own personal army. You know, it's like with the miners' strike of that, but around the same time as the Nasty scare was the miners' strike. You know, and the last big battle of the unions. You know, it's like Thatcher knew if she could defeat the NUM, the National Union of Miners, that she pretty much could do what she wanted with the country, really, because, you know, it could be argued that the unions in the 70s were too powerful, and it pretty much led to Ted Heath's departure as Prime Minister, and Thatcher she wanted her revenge because she was stockpiling coal a couple of years before the conflict, you know, and basically the there wasn't a ballot for them to go on strike, and a lot of the striking miners were trying to prevent the working miners from doing their work in the coal mines. And of course the police, the battlers, the famous, or I should say infamous, Battle of Orgreave, it's one of the appalling atrocities in British history, the Battle of Orgreave, with the police just completely on horseback battering the fuck out of the miners, completely battering the fuck out of them, so Thatcher, she used, like I said, Thatcher used the police as her own personal army, and whether it was with the 81 riots, miners' strike, poll tax, she just used them as her own personal army, and the police, in each county of the country, we're going around the video stores, raiding what was on the list, the video nasty lists, and what was not on it. I've heard stories that some stores seized Apocalypse Now. They seized because they thought it was a cannibal movie. They thought it was a They seized the best whorehouse in Texas. They seized the Big Red one. The Big Red one is a war film. What would it been called? The Big Bush. What would it been called? The Big Bush. Would they have seized that as well? Or It Goes Up the Hole. Would they have seized that as well? Amazing what was seized. Amazing, absolutely amazing, and unfortunately, a lot of these video stores, a lot of them, I imagine, had to do a lot of jail time as well for having these videos, because it was trying to be proven that these films were obscene. A DPP, they're the one that come up with the list, to try, just because it was supposedly obscene. Absolutely. I mean, censorship, whether it's music or literature or films, or all censorship does is it creates intrigue, and it creates a rebellious spirit in us. We want to know why we can't see these films. Why are these films obscene? Mary Whitehouse don't like these films. James Sherman don't like these films. Why are they obscene? I want to see him. It's like when Thatcher banned Spycatcher. Every fucker wanted a copy of that. The same with the Sex Pistols back in the late 70s. Another stupid example of censorship. If you're going to try and ban their records, people are never going to buy them. At the end of the day, they got to number one. I don't care what anyone says. They got to number one, but they just put Rod Stewart instead. And they try to censor. The album name as well, never mind the bollocks. And they had to go to court over that, which he won, because bollocks is a word in the English dictionary, for nonsense. So censorship, you know, is just it was. I don't know what it is with the 80s. It was just seemed to be censorship overload. You know, very. You know, you look kids today would look at that and you think that's like this. I look at it and it's like very draconian, very Stone Age. You know, just very, 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 very ridiculous. Just completely blown out of proportion. You know, I mean, for argument's sake, right? The Video Recordings Act of '84, you could argue that it was a good thing in a way, because it prevented 10 to 12-year-olds, you know, buying Last House on the Left and Cannibal Holocaust. Kids should not be watching films like that. I get that. I understand that. I get that, and I appreciate that. But to treat the adults at the time as complete idiots, saying you can't have these films in your store because they're potentially obscene, you can't watch these. You know, it's just basically treating the adults like complete buffoons, like they can't make their own decision. It's like, you know, oh no, it's gospel. You know, BBFC's word is gospel. DPP's word is gospel. You can't watch these films because they're obscene. They're obscene. They will corrupt you. They're obscene. You know, it's just mind-boggling. Absolutely mind-boggling. You know, censorship, it just doesn't work. Censorship now doesn't work at all, because you can watch uncut versions of a lot of these films on YouTube and Cody. So completely now it's completely defeating the object. And then of course, when a lot of the films got seized, you would get more copies. The video stores to get more copies and put them off the shelf. You know, and if you asked for a certain film, they give it to you, and it was just the rise of bootlegging, just bootlegging these uncut versions of these films and passing them around for people's enjoyment and amusement. So censorship, it doesn't work. It does not work. It doesn't work at all. It didn't work then, you know, because as you reflect, you know, a lot of these films on this list now, you can get uncut. You know, you completely get them uncut. You know, so it was like, you know, a moral panic compared to, I mean, compared to the threat of nuclear war, video nasties and video should have been the least of our priorities at that time, because at that time the country was in a mess anyway. You know, with Thatcher's government, it was a mess anyway. But I mean, video should have been the least of our worries. You know, when you compare it to, you know, the threat of nuclear war, which country's going to drop the bomb first, Russia or America? And I've been fucking worrying about videos. You know, absolutely mad. And of course, so we've talked about Mary Whitehouse, Gene Swim, Graham Bright. I would like to say Graham not so bright. And this is the man responsible for the Video Recordings Act. You know, probably the only. I mean, I can't think of anything else he's done since then. You know, because he brought in a private members bill. You know, he brought it in, which pretty much led to the Video Recordings Act of '84, where each video in the country had to be given a certificate. So pretty much changed entertainment forever. You know, there's a funny clip of him. Very funny clip. He's like, "You would be horrified at some of the horrific scenes me and I and other members of Parliament had to watch. We're doing research into this, and I think it's going to affect cats and dogs as well, so it goes too far." So basically, Mr. Bright, you're saying these films affect cats and dogs. So, but I've never heard any stories of your cat and dog stabbing you, Mr. Bright. Not at all. I've seen any newspaper articles of Mr. Bright going, "Oh, my cat watched Driller Killer. He tried to take a drill to my arse. Oh." No, I haven't heard any newspaper articles on his dog trying to stab him. So I don't know where he got that from. That these videos would affect cats and dogs as well. But there you go. That's conservative politicians for you, isn't it? Amazing. Absolutely amazing. So yeah, we talked about. Well, I'll try to do it as best I can. The history of the video nasties. So next video, we're going to be looking at some of them and talking about some of these nasties and on whether they should have been banned or not, some of these. So thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Bye bye.